So yes, hi everyone, and welcome from Malaysia/France. So yeah, quick introduction. My name is Alison. So I'm the founder of 3W, which is an organization based in Malaysia, with the main goal and mission to ignite women's emancipation through motorcycling. So I give motorcycle classes, organize events, and organize motorcycle tours as well in Asia, Nepal, Iran, India. From a personal background, I've been a rider since, well, I started riding on the back of my dad when I was 4 years old. I had my driving license, my riding license, and had my first bike when I was 19 years old. And I've been riding since then. I'm now 36, so yeah, you can count the years. So it's always been my comfort zone and where I can relax from a stressing job. And so that's about me. I'd like to introduce as well Leah. So Leah is my partner for those events. So please go ahead.
Thanks, Alison. So my name's Leah. I am from Australia. So I am the founder of Queen Cherry Bomb, which is a motorcycle gear brand that I kind of just, I don't even know where it come from. I created this on the back of being a woman and not having any gear that I could find that fit me properly, and all of those same things that I'm sure all of us women here have experienced. So that kind of started to snowball, and I guess I met a lot of women all over the world. Started talking to all women from all different walks of life to find out what it is that they need in gear, in motorcycle gear. So I've now found my way to building this brand and this store. What my passion is really supporting women to be able to get just do what they want in life, and that includes being safe, being free, and being confident in whatever it is that they choose. And for me, it's all about motorcycle riding. So I joined up with Alison probably 6 months, and more than that actually now. It was just after I had my little one, and she's now 9 months. She may make an appearance tonight.
Yeah.
Let's just see. She's asleep for now, but well, you just don't know. But yeah, I met Alison through LinkedIn actually, so another online platform, and we started chatting and just realised how much we had in common about really wanting to be able to get the message out there to women that there's so many options and opportunities to connect and to ride and to learn together. So we created this online forum to be able to share that message. So tonight we have Steph, and she will introduce herself. And yeah, we're just really excited to have her on board and to hear what she has to say. So welcome, Steph.
Thanks, Leah, and thanks, Alison. My name is Steph. I'm in Australia too. So thank you for having me on this chat today, and it's so great to connect with people all over the world. It's so exciting to meet people this way, which might normally never meet. Well, I'm the founder of Fempro Armour, and I started this after I rode the Simpson Desert in 2019. I'm actually fairly new to motorcycling, so I've always had problems in finding the right gear, but in general with motorcycling, so it never came to mind that there wasn't enough, because even in normal clothing I've always had problems. But when I rode the Simpson Desert, I realized that we women have nothing in the dirt bike world. So we actually are wearing male gear, male armor, and as you guys know, stick a female body into some male gear, it just doesn't work. But again, we women are so adapting to what is available for us. If the shoe was turned on the other way, I think man would be not happy at all. Anyway, and this is how Fempro Armour started, because when I saw these 11 other girls who rode with me the Simpson Desert, I looked at them and they all pretty much had the same problem, and they ranged from 5 foot to 6'1". And so over 4 days, whilst trying to go over sand dunes and trying to stay alive, I went like, there is something, what is it? And on the end of it, I said to my partner, I'm going to create armor. And so that's how I started. But I'm sure I will tell you guys more about it after in a little while. So yeah, I'm very excited to be here. So thank you again for having me.
Thanks. So I just would like to share a quick poll. So hi, we have a newcomer. So I guess, I don't know, your name is maybe Nigel. But if you want to pop up your name in the chat and where you are from, that would be great. I'm just going to launch. So on the bottom of your screen, there are a little square, round, and triangle. I'm going to launch a little poll. So I'd like to know, how confident are you that your whole body is well protected while riding nowadays? So are you super confident? Are you not too sure? Or do you feel vulnerable? So if you just click on the little button on the right bottom, there's a button called Activities with triangle, square, and round, and you should be able to see the poll. Okay, I have one vote. Okay. Okay, so we have one vote super confident, one vote not too sure, and 3 votes on I feel vulnerable. Okay, so that's a good news for you, Stephanie. You have a lot to teach us, I think. Okay, so maybe let's dig in and let's start your presentation, Stephanie, on what you have to share with us on your motorcycle journey, your business journey as well, because that's interesting. So basically, you told us a little bit about the Simpson Desert, and you realized, the need for proper gear. But yeah, can you tell us a little bit about the business journey more specifically, and how you developed this specific armor of yours, which is a patented product actually, and then maybe we go into some tips on how to choose one's gear properly. So we had a few questions of women who sent them beforehand. So we'll share some questions with you. And all the participants, we are not too numerous tonight, so honestly, feel free, just unmute yourself if you want to ask a questions, or if you want, you can just pop the question in the chat, in the little chat box, and we'll ask the questions to Stephanie at the end of the presentation. The floor is yours. You're muted.
Sorry, I just realized I've cleaned my office today and I've put my armor away, so I might have to actually get up and call my partner to grab me one. Can you guys wait for 1 second? I'm so sorry.
Sure, no worries, Aldo. Go ahead. No problem. Hi, Connie. I see that Connie joined. Nice to have you here. So Connie is one of the Malaysian ladies that won one of my motorcycle classes. She's based in Penang, and she used to live in India as well. So she did some amazing motorcycle tours there, and she won motorcycle classes with one of her friends who lives in Kuala Lumpur. So we had so much fun, and she wants to get her friends to ride with her so that they can go travel. Okay, Stephanie.
Okay.
Great.
Do you mind closing the door? Thanks. So, okay, here it is. But so, as I said before, when I was riding through the Simpson Desert, and I saw that all of the girls pretty much, we had one girl that was not wearing any armor and no gear. She literally was in jeans and a t-shirt. which for me is just incredible. And the reason why that actually happened was she said she can't find any gear, and she rather wears no gear and be comfortable and not to worry about wearing something that is uncomfortable. And for me, that was sort of a bit of an eye-opener, because when I rode with my armor on, it was a flat piece. My back and my chest was buckled in, and my boobs felt extremely squashed and uncomfortable. And I'm going like, man, this is just unreal. And then looking at the other girls, and as I said, they were 5 foot to 6 foot 1, and they literally looked all the same. And so when I decided I'm going to create armor, I had no, excuse me, I do swear a little bit, so I had no freaking idea of what I was doing. I just gone like, I've been very lucky. My mom always taught me, if there is no one to lead you, you become the leader. And so for me, it was, let's dive into this massive rabbit hole. And literally my life was turned upside down. And don't get me wrong, there were many nights that I did not sleep very well. And even to this day, 18 months later, this morning whilst driving, I'm going like, I need to start meditating, because my head is just like in overdrive. And so I knew what I wanted, but I could not articulate what it was, because English is my second language. And I'm not a very creative kind of person. And so for me there were parts that were working in the current armor, and there were a lot of parts that weren't working. So I knew that there was something that I needed to change, but I had no idea what. I do have to say I had a lot of people help me in the process. Some people pointed me into directions where I went like, really? But I went with the flow, and so I turned left and then turned right and left again, and I went over a mountain, so to speak, and I discovered things that I've never thought I could discover before. And the biggest thing for me is when I sat down to work out what I wanted to change, because I didn't want to create something that was already available. For me, it was really important that the things that were wrong when I was wearing armor was that I didn't like a flat piece because my boobs were squashed. I didn't like that the current armor was hard and rigid. I didn't like on how vulnerable you felt when you actually hit something. So I was wearing a piece of armor and I hit a tree at 60k an hour. And the blow that I experienced, I didn't want to experience that again. I was very lucky I wasn't severely hurt, but it could have been the other way. So for me I reached out to more than a dozen manufacturers all over the world, and I asked, it needs to be soft, it needs to be moldable to the chest, it needs to be for female boobs, no flat piece. And every single one said to me, it is impossible to make. Now, I'm from Germany, and so I'm here in Australia since 32 years. And I've been taught nothing is impossible. Whilst we have no idea of how to do it, you just have to find a way. Everything is possible. Anyway, I dug more into that rabbit hole, and I watched videos after videos, listened to people and read articles and looked for statistics, and I found one video where a guy had elbow armor on and another guy was hitting him with a stick, and I went like, holy moly. And they were talking about a product, and I'm going like, this is something that I want just for boobs. And so I went into the research of this product, and then I discovered things that I didn't like very much, but then I discovered the company that I then approached, which, funny enough, is only about 45 minutes from my hometown in Germany. And so I've approached them and I said to them, this is what I want to make. Can you make it? And for me, what they said was, we have no idea how to make it, but we will find a way. And I knew I had the company that I wanted to work with. And so 12 months and 4 days later, I had the Senna chest armor in my hands. And the package actually came late afternoon at about 4 o'clock, and I called my partner and I said, guess what, it's here. And he said, open it up. And I said, no, you have to be here, because he obviously been with me from the moment on and an amazing support person. And anyway, he didn't come home until 8:30 at night. I nearly strangled him. I said, don't be home so late. So we opened up the package and I had my armor in my hand and I cried to happy tears. And yeah, so that's how basically Fempro Armour, actually MissMxG started first, but we are rebranding MissMxG, which just becomes Fempro Armour. Same company, just a different title as such. And yeah, so it's that's how we started. And for me is, when I did a lot of research, I found that the problem in motorcycle is not the only problem that females have. Pretty much in every impact sports, females have exactly the same problem. Either there isn't anything existing or it is made for males. And unfortunately, manufacturers these days believe that if I splash a bit of pink on something, I make it a female piece. You just have to go into a motorcycle store here in Australia and you look at the Fox, for example, aisle for men, and pretty much everything is grey and black. And then you look in the female section and it's exactly the same item with a bit of pink in it. And now I have nothing against pink, whilst I'm not someone that wears pink, but for me, we are actually the largest growing group, in particular in motorcycling, and they're still ignoring us. And it's not just for armor, but it's also in pants, in jackets. And so Lee is changing that with her designs, that we finally have. You go into stores and you have 10 racks of males and maybe 1 rack of females, and then even that rack is only half full. And I just wanted to change this. So I launched my armor last year, December, with MissMxG, because I ride off-road. However, you don't have to be an off-road rider. You can be just a normal street rider. So when I wear my dry rider gear, I just slide the armor under my jacket, and because it's fairly tight, and zip it up. If you have a loose jacket, you wear one of our sports singlets that have a pocket inside where you slide the armor into the pocket, and that gets held into your jacket. But yeah, if you ride horses or do martial arts or boxing or play rugby, this will protect us girls in a sense of injuries.
Stephanie, sorry to interrupt you, but I'm curious to know, you said you reached out to 1,000 manufacturers and you finally found one who was willing to help you out and to design the product that you wanted, but how did you convince them that there was a market for it? Or how did you convince them to do it in the first place? Because you're right, the female market is one of the fastest growing, but still, as you said, it's still not addressed. So I'm curious to know how you convince them.
So when I approached my manufacturer in Germany, I sent them an email, and obviously because I speak German, I said, would it be possible to speak on the phone? Because I do like to or Zoom or Skype. And they said, no, we don't do Skype, we don't do Zooms, but we can talk on the phone. Anyway, they said, send us your files. So I found a great guy here in Australia. His name is Isaac, who's a CAD programmer. So the pieces of paper that I had and my model that I created, so I took that with me to him and I said, here, take this and put it into a program. And so my manufacturer said to me, send me your program, we have a look at it. So when I then emailed them back and I said, yeah, cool, but please sign this non-disclosure form first. And they said, yeah, no problem. So I sent them my CAD program file, and they looked at it and they're going like, oh yeah, we can Zoom and we Skype now. So they've changed their tune very quickly. And from that day on, I always spoke with the owner of the company. They, like, apparently, they didn't need convincing, Alison. They knew they had something very special on, but they're actually making BMW armor gear. So they are very well known in Europe for their armor protection as such. So when they said to me, no one ever has approached us in regards of creating a device that is specifically for female boobs, because it is actually quite challenging to create an armor, because if you have a flat piece, when you do impact testing, they test on 3 points, on two X's and a Y. Now, when you test something that is rounded, it is extremely hard to do, because the two X's are about here and about here, where it's exactly where the shape is. So it is quite hard to get impact testing done on that. And what it basically means, the harder it is, the more it costs. I pretty much, not that I have a house to put a mortgage to it, but it felt like I had to mortgage the house. So when they saw this and they said, we will make this work, because there is nothing like this available. Yes, there is armor that is boob shaped. However, that is not impact tested. But also, one of the greatest thing, or the main part apart from having the boob shape, is I wanted the proper absorption part to it. So what I mean with that is, if you have a flat piece, a hard plastic, and we always get told that something that is hard is what will protect you. In a way, yes, that's correct, but in another way, it's not, because if you hit this hard piece, the impact will go through. So if that's where your boobs are and your chest, that's why a lot of women, or men too, will have broken ribs. When you have a broken rib, you can displace organs, and if they have to open you up on the side of the street, your survival rate goes down to 5%, which is really bad. So with this armor, easy to explain how this works. So at the moment, Leah, how cold would it be here? Maybe 22 degrees something. So it's cold.
Yeah. Oh, how cold is it in Queensland right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe early 20s.
Yeah, well, it's cold for me. Anyway, this is not super soft. It is soft, but literally when this is really soft, the edges will actually touch my the side of my wrist. It's like Play-Doh. And how this works, it's got thousands of little airbags, like the airbags in your car. So when there is no pressure, this just bends in. So like when there's no impact, it just moves with you. And the thing is, you don't even need to fill out the cup in order to be fully protected. Now, I'm a C cup. This goes to a double D. if you're a B cup or even an A cup, you can still wear this as well because it flattens out and molds to your body. But to go back to how it protects is, so when there is no hard impact, it just bends into it. But if you can listen, it becomes hard on impact. So what actually happens, those thousands of little airbags explode, becomes rigid, but then it has no absorption this way. It literally stops. Now, when you have a hard plastic and you hit something where the impact of is, that's where 100% is. With this armor, if I hit here, I have a very small amount of impact on here because it gets distributed over the whole area. So the force can't even go through because you don't have 100% on there. So your ribs, I'm not saying that this will fully protect you, that you will never break a rib, but it will minimize the danger of hurting yourself by a huge amount. And only a few weeks ago, I got tagged by one of my customers who I met about 3 weeks after she broke some ribs when she came off a track bike. And she bought the chest armor because she saw a review of it the day before she met me. Now, a few weeks ago, she tagged me into a post where she said she came off her motorcycle in a bend and a pole stopped her, and she rode about 100 kilometers an hour, and she hit the pole front on. And I've even just uploaded a testimonial of hers on YouTube. And she said she did not break any ribs. She did not re-break her ribs that are still mending. And it actually did exactly what I've told her it would do. So it's, and this is where it all comes down to, it's how it will protect you. Yeah, so that's how the armor goes.
That's amazing, Steph. That really is. And just like I've met Steph before. I took a trip down to Brisbane and I knew what she was doing because I'd seen her on social media, and I thought, let's see if we can connect. And yeah, so I actually went through, you know, she took me into her house and showed me like where everything was done, and it is in her own home. And I'm sure that's, is that still the same now, or has it changed? Have you moved?
No, it's still the same, but we are looking for a warehouse because I can't put one more box into
No. I'm really curious as to how, like I know that you had the idea and you knew what you wanted, but how did you come to understand the composition of the material? Like, you know, when you discovered this, the guy hitting with the elbow and you said, I want that, like, were they just willing to give you their details? Like, how did that come about?
No, it pretty much came down to each of the manufacturers that I approached was telling me things that they were doing and how it worked. And then I just asked a lot of questions, and so when I spoke to my manufacturer, I asked them pretty much the same. What do you do? How does it work? Why is it better? How is it made of? And I made the decision then that this was as the best that you can get, because, and then obviously I did research when it came down to hard plastic, soft plastic, the different kind of foams. How do they react? I looked into how airbags actually work in cars, so that I get educated from an impact in itself on how you actually hurt yourself. So at the moment, as you can see with the armor, that's for front-on force. It will protect you if you roll as well, however, not as much as on the front. Now, we're at the moment actually creating a full body armor, which also goes over your collarbone, over your shoulders, around your whole body, side ribs. So that is the ultimate protection that you can have.
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to ask you, because I was wondering, I understand that for the breast, there's really nothing, and that was the priority. But then about the back or even the legs, I understand that the key differentiator of your product is not only the shape, but also the material itself. So yeah, so do you have plans? So you said a full body armor you are planning, you are developing, so that would protect a little bit more, because the stomach as well is super sensitive, like when I do Muay Thai, and usually the place where I'm most hurt, that can bring me tears, is the stomach, and so I was wondering, in addition to maybe this full front face, like, do you have plans to develop with this material also maybe for the legs or the back, sorry?
So there is armor available in this actual foam. So the foam is called viscoelastic foam, which has a memory effect into it. So there is armor available for shoulders, elbows, and back. It's been in the market for a long time. This is not a new product. It's just how it was being made, for what shape, that's new. So yes, we do have garments. For example, our undergarment, which I wear, has all of the shoulders, the elbows, the back, and the chest plate in it. So I wear that when I go dirt biking. I've exchanged the armor out of my dry rider as well, because the armor in those jackets were not at the quality that I wanted to have. So just because you have armor in a jacket or in your pants doesn't mean it is quality armor. And let me tell you why I say this. So I went into a well-known store in the Gold Coast that caters for off-road. And I bought this armor that had shoulder, elbows, chest, and back. And I'm not going to name the name, because it's I'm not here to shame, because they didn't do anything wrong. And I bought this armor because it's a well-known company, and it got sold with armor, and it said it's armor. So me, as someone who had no idea, this obviously was before I started learning all about this, I assumed that this would protect me. And don't get me wrong, anything will protect you more than nothing at all. So even if you wear some long pants, it will protect you more than if you just wear shorts. However, when I went through my journey, I looked actually at the label of my armor that I was wearing for more than a year, and it actually said that this is not armor. It will only protect you from flying stones from a motorcycle ahead of you. Now, I actually hit that tree with that particular armor. That's why I'm saying is I was very lucky in the way I obviously hit the tree. Just because it says it's armor doesn't mean it is actually armor. And I don't read instructions, and I certainly don't read labels, particularly when they're very little with writing as such. But it is so important to understand that, particularly in Australia and Asia, armor does not have to be impact tested, which normal people that aren't in that industry wouldn't even know. If you buy armor in Europe or in the US, they have to be impact tested. And then there is a difference between the levels of impact testing that you want to have. So we have a level 1 and a level 2. Obviously, a level 2 has a much higher force, which will protect you way much more than the level 1. The full body armor that we are actually creating is a level 3. That's even one more level up. So that's pretty much an airbag within, like in motorcycling, you can go and buy yourself an airbag that sits under your jacket, and when you fall off your bike, it explodes, just like when you go on the track. However, they are quite uncomfortable apparently to wear. Not that I know, because I've never worn one. But pretty much our armor will be something like this without all the strings attached that that model will have. So it's it's the education that we need when it comes to protection, because when I bought my first jacket, no one was talking about chest to me. Everyone talks about shoulders, elbows, and back, but nothing in the front. And yes, the back is really important, because if you break your spine, you're pretty much screwed. I couldn't care less if I lose an arm or a leg, but what actually happens, the injuries that one can sustain when they hurt their chest is equally as bad as if you break your spine.
So speaking of which, Stephanie, you mentioned this story. I mean, not this story, but those level 1, level 2, level 3. So can you share some tips, maybe a little bit more general, because we have both road riders and motocross riders. Some like key guidelines on when you go to choose some protective gears. What would be really your, I don't know, your top 5 tips, like the must do, the must look, the must check for general motorcycle protective gear?
It really is I wouldn't say I have 5 tips, but I do have some tips. It all comes down to personal preference. I always get asked, what level should I buy, level 1 or level 2? Now, I ride a level 1 when I go into the dirt, because the force that can happen is less than when I'm on the road. If I get hit by a car, the force that is projected onto me is way much greater than if I hit a tree on a bend, on the dirt, or on the sand. The level 1 currently is only 325 grams, so it's super light. The level 2 is 525 grams. So there is you're going to have to think, okay, do I want more protection? Then I have to take a few 100 grams more, or what do I need to do? So if I go on a motocross track and I do jumps, well, I'm going to wear level 2, no doubt about that. But it really comes back down to personal preferences. For me, another tip would be whatever protection someone is looking for, it needs to feel comfortable, because my first gear, I constantly had to pull and push and readjust. If you're not comfortable, you're going to worry about it. If you're worried about it, your attention to your riding will be diminished, which then means you're putting yourself into more danger. So whatever it is, you're going to have to be comfortable. And another tip is pull your armor out of whatever you have and look at it. When it comes to impact testing, so this particular armor that is boob-shaped in martial arts has a sticker. So it is boob-shaped, it's white, but they are selling it with a sticker in front of it, on the inside. And the sticker has the CE symbol of impact testing. Now, I've taken a photo of this because I actually bought the armor. I bought a lot of armor to see the difference, obviously. I could probably open up an armor store here of different things. And I took a picture and I sent this to the Impact Testing Institute that this went through. And I said to them, I'm not questioning of what we're doing, but I like to know, why can they do this when we have to do that? And they looked at it and they said, this is not impact tested at all. So, and the reason why, can you guys see or sort of see this box? Now, proper impact testing has to have a pictogram engraved into the armor. And in the engraving, it needs to be either a horse or a motorcycle, depending on the level. And it needs to have a code in it. It also needs to have the address of who makes it in it. It needs to have the level of it. Now, just a plastic, a sticker, doesn't It basically is sold online. You can go to the company, and I actually approached them and I said to them, can I see your impact testing certificate? So you guys can actually send me an email and say, I want to see your impact testing certificate, which basically means that if anything happens, that company will be responsible for it, because our testing's gone through vigorous testing, or our armor's gone through vigorous testing, so that I can say this is impact tested protection. So it's really important to understand when you are wearing armor, whatever armor you have, look at it and see if it is actually proper armor, and you'd be surprised. Now, I had a friend who wore exactly the same armor, and when I saw him wearing it, after I found out that my armor wasn't impact tested, I said to him, do you actually know that this is not impact tested? And he said, no. Not even 2 weeks later, he had an accident and hit the armor and it broke in two. And that's where you want the right gear. So I always say, people ask me, how much money should I spend on something? Well, how much is your chest worth? Or how much is your helmet worth? Or your head? You know, I have people ask, can I buy an $80 helmet from Aldi? Yes, of course. It's got their regulations. There's certain standards that needs to be done here in Australia. So my armor has the Australian certified standard. Plus then the European standard, which is basically the best you can have. So when you're buying gear, whatever it might be, just check exactly what you're getting. And I always believe is you pay what you get, or you get what you pay for. If you want to have a Porsche, you pay a couple of $100,000. If you want to have a Hyundai, nothing wrong with a Hyundai. I had one of those too. You only pay $20,000. You know, so you get different kind of quality behind certain things. So, and for me, even if I ride down to the shops, I gear up completely. If I can't be bothered putting my gear on, I should not be riding, because it's not if you're going to fall, it's when you're going to fall. We all will fall. I've fallen plenty of times. There is not a week where I don't fall. But I know that when I fall, I don't have to worry that if I'm protected or not.
Yeah, absolutely. Steph, we've got a couple of questions here from some of the ladies before the event that they put out. So I'm going to just go through them, but I think I'm just having a read of them now, and I think we can all just have a discussion about them, because there are definitely some in there that, you know, others might be able to answer as well and to share some of their insights. But suggestions, so someone has asked, does anybody have any suggestions for finding larger sizes of women's riding gear? And I think just going back to your armour, does that, I know that as far as the boob size goes, it's moldable, but what about, you know, the width and everything? How does that all come into play?
So, as I said, our armour is available up to a double D. However, when you are petite, let's say 5 foot, and you're petite and you have a B cup, you can still wear the armour. You can also wear it if you're an E cup, so much bigger. It may not protect you 100% all the way around. Like my massage therapist, she was a double E, and she was wearing it just to test out to see if she could fit in it. And she had about 75% covered. That 75% is more than nothing at all. We are making, so we're going into crowdfunding tomorrow. Our expression of interest is going out tomorrow, because we are crowdfunding money for making our level 3 mold, but we're also making our SENA for the A to C cups. And the reason why we do that is because, as I said, if you're 5 foot tall and you're petite, this will make you look like Jessica Rabbit. Nothing wrong with big boobs, you know, but some girls might not like that. this is purely from an aesthetic point, because as a petite girl, you can wear that. It literally will flatten and mold its way. The edges you don't even feel anymore. You feel it at the start. So if this armor gets really hard, let's say you live in a cold country. I went in July down to Sydney and they had a cold snap, and this was rock hard. And I actually had to put the heater in the car on for it to get soft so they can put that in, because I was so cold I couldn't even wear it either. So the smaller mold is purely there so that the girls don't feel like so big boot kind of away.
Yeah. Okay. So I've also got here, so someone's asked about helmets. So I don't know if you know the answer to this, Steph. I've got a little bit of insight. Alison, you may as well. But helmet age, when is it a good time to throw a good helmet away? So the person that's so they've got an 8-year-old helmet, great quality, costing $700 plus.
I don't have the right answer or the wrong answer for it. However, I've been told when you ride a lot, the UV rays will diminish the integrity of a helmet over the years. So it's the same like if you put plastic outside and you leave it there for quite some time, it will get brittle. Mm-hmm. Now, you may not feel that the plastic or your helmet has become brittle, but you just don't know if the integrity has been diminished. So me, personally, I would not wear a helmet older than 5 years. But then it comes down to how much riding have you done. If you've done 5 years worth of literally everyday riding, I would say that's pretty much the lifespan of your helmet. If you were wearing it only on weekends for the next 10 years, I think, you got some good time out. Plastic does not last forever. This is one thing I forgot. Hard plastic usually gives you 12 months warranty. This has 10 years. I don't even think you can destroy this thing unless you put it in fire and it melts. So when it comes to helmet, it's the same. It does not last. It may look perfect. If you drop your helmet, get it tested to see if there's a hairline fracture in it. It needs to be only so minute, and if you have another impact, it might be enough for it to go through, and then you're not fully protected.
Yeah, and when we talk impact, it's also dropping it, because, for example, in my case, I never fell with my helmet, but it falls on its own very, very often. And I'm like, 2 years down the line, it's done, because, I went rock climbing once and I had it with me and it fell off the cliff. I mean, forget about it. So I was told, my father always told me, if you drop it once, then you change it. I think it was a little bit extreme, but yeah, the number of shocks he gets, it's really like, at least for, I would say, if it takes 2-3 like hard shocks, even if you have it for a year, then you better change, because it's likely
I think anything over a meter, if it drops down, should be tested if it's got any breakage in it. If you dropped it, a little bit, I wouldn't worry too much, but anything over a meter, if you had an accident, change it. Your head, you only have one head. That's what it comes down to. $700, yeah, it might hurt the pocket, but if you hurt your head, it will last you way much longer than the $700 out of your pocket. That's how I see it. But it's everyone's perception.
Yeah. I read an article recently, and I'll actually find it and I'll send it out in the emails after this. But it was about how some of the manufacturers have changed where they're getting their products manufactured from, and now using cheaper parts. So the foam and the plastic and like that, that all might be good quality, and the the way that it's been moulded it's the same engineering, but they're now using cheaper parts. So it's, for example, like the screws and those little bits and pieces. And once they wear out and they have such a shorter lifespan, then your helmet's ruined. So a good quality helmet 10 years ago may have lasted you 10 years. If they've now changed manufacturers of certain parts of that helmet, it now will only last a few years. So, yeah, I mean, I'll try and dig it up and share it with people, but it was really eye-opening.
Mm.
So I see Alison's just shared in the chat that there's a brand here that specialises in large sizes for women's gear. And if anybody else has got anything that they can share about resources around, who provides gear for women, anything specific like that they can share in this group, that would be really great. So there's another thing here. It just says sand riding. So I'm not sure if whoever's put that is actually in today, in the group at the moment, but I'm assuming it's maybe some tips about sand riding. Is that something you could talk about today?
I can. I love riding sand. It actually ruined my road riding because I find road riding so boring now. And then I pushed it off, aiming, and then I realized, shoot, there are cars. So sand riding, pretty much never start in first gear, always in second gear, because it is so much harder getting to go in first gear. And when you're in trouble, throttle out. So everything that you know on the road, you need to throw out the window and do exactly the opposite. If you're too slow, it is actually way much harder. So on a good average, depending on where you go, if you go a straight line but you are in deep sand, you need to go at least 60, 70 Ks, second, third, fourth gear. That all depending on, is your bike lower geared or higher geared. But yeah, you have to have some speed. The good thing with sand riding, like when I went to the Simpson Desert, you go along the French line. It's actually at the start quite easy, but then you go over the sand dunes and you have no idea where it will go. So you have to slow down, but still go hard enough so that you're not digging yourself into the sand, but you're not going to propel yourself off the dune. And quite often I didn't make the corner because there was obviously an S-bend behind that I couldn't see. But when you're falling, there's no trees, you're not hurting yourself hugely. Yes, you're going to be bruised and all that, but I mean, a couple of times when I went through the sand dunes, I landed in a big bush, and you're going to have to learn to fall when you do sand riding, that's for sure. Never steer with your hands. You're literally holding, metaphorically speaking, with one finger your handlebar, so but you steer with your legs. So you grip the tank, so you get really good, strong inner thigh muscles. And but yeah, if you go too slow, you are so much harder. My first sand riding was at Rainbow Beach, and it was an awesome day. We prepared for the Simpson Desert, and it took us longer coming back, and we didn't realize the high tide was coming in. And man, I was swearing like a trooper. And I probably fell about a dozen times within a kilometer because I was so exhausted. I just couldn't go faster, but the slower I got, the worse it became. And on the end, on my last fall, I hit my head, and the last rider came and said, "Do you need help?" And I said, "No, let me die." And I mean, it is extremely challenging each time when I go on the sand. It's a new challenge, and 2 hours is the equivalent of like 6, 7, 8 hours road riding. If you want to be bike fit, go on sand. It will make you bike fit very quickly. I didn't ride for 2 weeks and went riding on Sunday at an area that was pretty much like sand. It wasn't sand, but the dust was like sand. Man, on Monday I was sore like hell, and I was like literally everywhere I was sore. But yeah, the only tip you need on sand riding is don't go slow. And just go for it. You will have a lot of fun.
Hold the throttle. Yeah. I actually haven't been on sand or dirt for a long time. Well, not since I've been up in Queensland, and it's been 5 years now. So you talking about that, it's just getting me so keen to get back on. So much fun.
Well, we should all come together when this bloody COVID is finished and do a big sand riding week, kind of, where my goal is next year to go back into the Simpson Desert and take a whole bunch of females with us to celebrate of where it all started. And quite often I have cursed the organizer for letting me in this ride, because I always thought if I didn't ride the Simpson Desert, I probably would have never made armour.
Yeah.
And but sand riding is addictive. It's fun, and when you ride over the Simpson Desert, for example, because with each wind blow, the desert changes, the colour changes, and it's a magical place. So I want to go back there to celebrate and take a whole bunch of people with us and record it and have it organised with support vehicles. And so I take you with me, Leah.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
and anyone who wants to come.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I'm totally game for that kind of crazy stuff, for sure.
So we've got on this event, as we said earlier, there's usually women from all different countries, and Alison is really well connected with women who, and she does tours. So, and they're planning to do these different tours, and I'm jumping on board on that as well. I think we all just need to do both, like in 2 different countries. Let's just do it.
Yep, definitely.
So cool. It's so cool. So the last question I have here is what to look for in motorcycle gear. And I think, Steph, you've touched on, you've spoken a lot about what to look for in armour, and, it's the same kinds of thing to look for is in gear as well. So, in my experience, it's very similar. You'll have tags that will say genuine leather, or it's just these really vague descriptions of what the gear is. It doesn't really give you the true quality. So my recommendation would be to look for those, look for the symbols. So it has to be embedded on the armour. You need to be able to understand the thickness of the leather as well. And what they're kind of talking about when they use the terms genuine leather or real leather or, top grain and all of these different terms, when, fashion leather, sheep leather, goat leather, like none of that is going to protect you. And we've spoken about...
I would always say is when you go out, regardless of what you buy, is ask questions.
Yeah.
Don't just take the word of who says something. Mm-hmm. Just ask them. I mean, I always welcome anyone sending me an email or messaging me on Facebook and go like, hey, show me what is your armour made out of? How does it work? Or go on my YouTube link. There's a video about an orange. Now, we took an orange and, it's been made in my backyard, and you can see the clothesline at the back and the grass isn't mowed. But so, and we took the armour and we first of all, we hit the orange with a hammer, and obviously the orange exploded, and then we took another orange and we put the armor around it and we hit it, and then we hit it again, and then we hit it again, and there's no break on the video. It's literally we took the orange and we just hit and showed into the camera. And so educate yourself to what gear you want to wear, and or ask questions of how much do I want, how important is protection for me, how important is the helmet to me. I mean, my showy helmet is $1,000. Yeah, bloody hurt when I bought that, but I thought, you know, it's I only have to hit my head once and I'm dead. And I had a big fight with my son last year when he wanted to come riding with me, and he said, I don't want to buy a neck armor. And there is different thoughts to it. Some people don't want to wear it, and others. But for me, is you can't have enough protection in general. So I said to him, you don't have to wear armor. It's okay, but then you're not riding with me because I don't want to see you break your neck. And so he eventually did wear the armor. So he went out and bought himself a neck brace and went riding. And we had a fella who had absolutely no protection on when he came riding. And I just shook my head, but it's not my place to tell people what to wear. Anyway, this fella, he fell at not even 20 k's an hour on an area where you should not have fallen, and he shattered his knee. Now, yes, okay, but I said to my son on that, can you see you don't have to go fast to hurt yourself a lot? So for me is ask quality questions when it comes to protective gear. If this is shoes, if this is a helmet, if you don't get an answer, I'm always, if I go to the doctor and the doctor tells me this is safe to take, okay, I listen to what he says, but then I do my research. And if my research is in line with what my doctor said, then I will take it. It's the same like I make research in regards of boots. I had boots where I nearly broke my ankle. My boots are like a prison now. I cannot move my ankle because I can't afford breaking my ankles. So for me is I have a good leather jacket. Asking questions and don't just take someone's word because, and if that word is just on a label, make more research because your life depends on it.
Yeah,
and looking
I think that's the great point. Ask quality questions, as simple as that. And if people that are selling you this gear can't answer those questions, move on.
And but you pinpointed as well looking for certain key labels. So for example, I know in my case for helmet, I would always look inside, look for the CE label. So I would also advise based on where you are based, because I know, for example, in Malaysia, I could not find any helmet or I could not find this label. So, find out in your country what are the regulations on motorcycle gear, if there is any. And if there's none, then better even supply outside. But there are a few, look at those, kind pinpointers, asking the right questions, if it has been tested, what do you use this gear for? But then there are basic things like in your shoes, always make sure that your boots are at least ankle high, the certification in the helmet, the jacket that it has internal protection. So there are a few basics like that. And actually an interesting question from Crystal as well. She's asking, where should you wear your protections? Because she used to wear them. She saw somebody wearing on the outside of the pants. But I wear them. I wear them all inside. Can you please confirm and maybe why?
When it comes to motocross, the norm is you wear your knee braces, for example, on the inside. But that's only because someone said that if you wear them on the outside, you look like a beginner. Who gives a shit if the armor is on the outside or on the inside? People ask, should I wear armor? Well, if you have sex and you don't want a child, should you have protection? It's the same. If you don't want an accident, wear armor. If you don't want a child, have a condom. It's just that's basically what it comes down to. It's whatever feels comfortable. It comes back down also to the comfort level. If you live in an area where you can't get proper riding, wear anything, because anything will be better than nothing. When I see here in Queensland people say, they wear shorts and T-shirts and thongs because it's hot, I'm going like, have a shower afterwards. It's like, if it's too hot, then you shouldn't be riding. But that's just my belief. And I do understand not everyone has the same belief. I value my life extremely high, and I know I will fall. And I can't tell you guys how many times I have heard in the last 2 years, I won't fall. If someone, I don't get their thought process, but I
think the gear, the protection inside. For me, to have tried both, I prefer inside for the simple reason that it stays in place better. And as you said, there are a lot of things that are not necessarily fitting very well. So in my case, I tried both, and I just feel much more comfortable with a thin shirt or something like that. The protection, and then the pants or the jacket above and so on, just because it can help keep the armor in place, mainly.
I mean, when I wear my gear, so when I go riding and I wear my undergarment on the last Sunday, it was quite hot. So I just wore my undergarment because it's got straps on the shoulders, it's got straps over on the elbow, and it's got straps over the shoulder, it's got straps from the back to the front. The armor will not move. So I don't have to wear anything on it, but I can wear another shirt over it to cover it if I want to go color. When it comes to my knee braces, I wear them under my pants. When I ride on the road, I have my Kevlar jeans and I have my knee braces, my knee. So our shoulder and elbow pads can also be used on your knees, and I slide them into my Kevlar pants in there, because I know those ones are top quality. But again, whatever is most comfortable for the individual rider. There is no right and there's no wrong. It's whatever you feel best.
Thank you, Stephanie. Lots of great information. Thanks so much for that.
So what we might do now is just, we like to do some little quizzes, just a little bit of fun, and they're based on Steph's presentation. So I'm sure you'll all be amazing. Let me just share it, and so it'll just pop up in the chat.
Oh. Where's the chat? Here.
Okay. So has everybody jumped in?
Yeah. Did you share a link?
I did share a link, yes, in the chat. It's that little the little chat box.
My connection is super low, but I'm logging in.
Down near where the people are. It's on the right-hand side for me.
Yeah.
It's asking me for a code, but it's not letting me.
Oh, isn't it?
Yeah. It's asking me for a code. It says you must enter a code to continue. The code is found on the screen in front of you.
I have the quiz is not open.
Okay, let me just see if I can work this out.
So maybe you just need to open it.
Okay, how about now? My computer's very slow. I think it's just... Okay, how about now?
Yeah.
Are you in, Steph? I think... Well, you should know all the questions.
Yeah.
Okay, Crystal's in. Awesome. All right. Looks like we've got 5 people in there. All right. So you got to answer fast. So what level of protection is the highest in safety? Level 1, level 2, or level 3? Now, I actually have to say something about this. I didn't know there was a level 3 until Stephanie said it.
Well, the level 3 actually does not exist in motorcycling. So I do have to say, so our level 3 actually will be for the horse riding, cross country, and for the defense. However, it can still be used in motorcycling too, or anywhere else, because it is even better than the level 2 that is currently on the market.
Okay, so level 3 was actually the right answer, right?
Level 3
is the right answer, yeah.
Good.
All right, so, yeah. Okay. Okay, question 2. How do you know if your armour is actually certified and not a copy? So it has a certification sticker, it has an imprint of a pictogram, manufacturer's details and the level, or it states clearly on the tag. Yes, everyone is correct. It needs to have an imprint. So my computer is really slow, guys. Sorry about this.
Yeah, don't worry. I think if I had done it, it would have been worse on my side too.
Okay, question 3. Why is it important to have proper fitting gear? It's not if you fall, it's when you fall. It makes you look like a superhero, or it's not important at all.
It should be spanked for the last question.
Okay, so it's not if you fall, it's when you fall. Yes,
nothing wrong with looking like a superhero, because my armor was actually made with anime inspiration. So yep,
that's cool.
My daughter was very much in animation, and I wanted to look like us girls without making us look like prostitutes.
How old's your daughter?
Sorry?
How old's your daughter?
She's turning 27. Yes, I'm old.
You're not old. I just saw Eve. Eve's put her name in there. So, hi, Eve. We've been calling you Nigel. I knew it wasn't, but... Okay, so question 4. What to look for when buying armour? The fit, whether it is impact compliant, the comfort, or all of the above. Yeah, all of the above. Okay, last question. Armor or no armor? No armor, all the armor, or any armor will be better than no armor.
That's a tough one.
Okay, so it's not a question of who has had the most good responses. It's more a question of who's been the fastest, I think.
Yeah, and I think like that's obviously, you know, everyone has their own opinion on that, but yeah, it's any armor is better than no armor. All right, we should have a leaderboard come up here.
Definitely better than shorts and t-shirts.
Absolutely.
You guys ever want to look at a girl who had the experience of being a pillion with t-shirts and a short and coming off? Her name, or she's going as the road crash queen on Google. And
Really?
read her road crash queen. If you can't find it, I can send you the link. Pretty much 80% of her body is not the way it used to be. And she goes to schools and talks about protective gear. And I always go like, don't worry about looking super cute on a bike, because if you lie in hospital and they're scrubbing you like burn victims because you have gravel on your legs or on your arms or on your back, you wish you had it. Because protective gear, I always say, is you want to get to a point where you don't go, I wish I had my armor on. You want to be at the point where I go like, man, I'm so glad I had my armor on. You know, and that means pants, jackets, not just chest armor in itself.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Stephanie.
Sorry, Alison, you go.
No, I just wanted to thank you, Leah and Stephanie, and thank you for the quiz. Congrats, Connie, for your good answers and the rapidity Malaysia in force. I just wanted to move on a little bit because I don't know if everyone will have time until the end, and I want to share some interesting information with you at the end as well. So we were supposed to do a little breakout room, but we are small groups, so I think it would be nice to do a little round table. If each of you could tell us a little bit about you, what brought you to motorcycling or what you love about motorcycling, and most importantly, in the theme of tonight, if you have if you can share what's your favorite motorcycle gear and why. So it can be a brand or a specific type of gear that you like that you cannot do without. So if you want to share a brand or a gear that you like, please feel free, and what you love about motorcycling. So shall we start maybe with Crystal?
I'll put it in the chat too.
Okay, my name is Crystal. I'm from Sarawak in Malaysia. I was inspired to ride motorcycles because my dad rode one. That was when I was a child. And then after I had my daughter, I decided that, I wanted to I want to experience freedom and feeling alive. So I started to take on motorcycling, which I really wanted to do since I was small, but didn't get to do that because of study and work. Well, what I like about motorcycle is just basically anything, because so far I've been joining all of these talks. I'm still trying to figure out what I really actually want to do, but I really like road riding. I like going on adventures. I want to try out race track days. So because of the COVID, I haven't got the opportunity to do that. But
soon, Crystal, I'll organize another one when you can travel to KL.
Thanks, Alison. My favorite item of gear would be, well, I like jackets. I have a lot of jackets. Depends on what do I feel like wearing, what style I would like to wear. But of course, protection is important. I like to look good in my gear too. If you're talking about favorite motorcycle gear brand, would be Dainese, but it's very pricey. To only have one or two of those. Yeah, that's all for me. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Crystal. Eve? You're on mute. You need to unmute your... Yeah.
Hi, yep. So I did ride when I was young. I got my license when I was 18, but then I've never got my full license, so it lapsed. So last year I went and got my license again, and so I've been riding for just over a year.
Yay!
Oh, it's so good.
It's so good.
I'm spewing that I waited so long, but it's okay. I had kids and blah, blah, blah. So I just love riding. I've gotten a few of my friends are now getting their licenses as well because they've seen how happy I am all the time because I go riding. And I just love, I live in Melbourne, and I'm in the eastern suburbs, so I can I've got mountains, I can go down the peninsula, I could go, there's heaps of really cool rides around me. So I just love going on through the bush, and then you can go out into the country and all the big sweeping roads. So I just love the freedom of riding and just, I don't know, I love feeling like I'm flying. If I could have a superpower, I'd fly. So my favourite gear, because I've only been riding a year, I've got one pair of pants. I don't think I've washed them yet. I'm not sure, but I get wet in the rain, so I figure that's washing. And I have a jacket.
Love it.
I think I've got one jacket. I'm not a shopper. That's why I've got a motorbike, because I don't spend money on clothes and stuff. So I've got one jacket, one helmet, one pair of Kevlar pants.
That's all you need.
Exactly. It's good.
But then they always say you can't have enough helmets and you can't have enough jackets and pants and you know.
I got one body. I just wear the same clothes. But I do find I layer up. I've been riding tonight. Before I got here, so I wear I have to wear underclothes because it's cold in Melbourne. So I'm I wear quite a few layers.
It's freezing in Melbourne.
It's always
Good. Good on you for getting out there.
Yeah, it was a bit sunny today, so I was I rode to work. So I've actually even got a job in a motorbike industry. So I'm my whole life going towards motorbikes now, which is awesome. So
nice.
Yeah,
what do you do?
We make parts for Harleys, so indicator lenses, and we're just starting to do tips for exhaust pipes.
Nice.
Yeah. So we're called. I've got the T-shirt. We're called Custom Craft.
Ah,
So we're
okay.
Yeah. It's just a cool little. It's purely making Harleys. I don't even have a Harley. I've got a Kawasaki, but the whole Harley breed, I'm actually starting to really like it and just appreciate the artistic quality to it. So that's all interesting. And so I don't really have a favourite brand. I guess I kind of just buy whatever I can get onto. But I'm interested in, because my confidence in my riding's coming up, and I'm probably riding longer. I go on massive rides all over Victoria at the moment, and I'm interested in that the armour and just getting. I guess I need to know why you would do it. That's why I wanted to come to this talk, because I was well, why do you? And I'm I get it now. Why you would wear chest armour and that, because
it's something that because it's coming more and more. People are more aware of it. It's just society. All these years of motorcycling, no one ever thought about chest armour. When you go on the track and you watch MotoGP, the last thing that these guys do is stick their armour in it before they zip up their jackets. Now, these guys do understand that they will fall. But when I see a lot of road riders, or general public in riding, they tend to think they will never fall. And for me, it's just impossible. and you only need one fall to be majorly injured. It's not 10 falls or 100 falls. It's not 100 Ks. It can happen at 10, 15 Ks. I mean, I hurt my leg with my other boots at 0 speed, and I ended up in hospital at 0 because I literally tripped. And so for me, society is just getting the hang of it, understanding that we need to protect in the front. And because I can guarantee you, it doesn't matter in what bike shop you go, no one talks about chest armor. They're just starting to now.
They also don't cater for women that much. Like, I mean, we are a smaller part of the share, and of course you're not going to do half the gear for like 5% of the market. I get that, but
it's actually not, if I may say that, it's actually not because we are a small breed in the motorcycle industry. We have hundreds, and Leah can say a big thing on it. We have hundreds of different shapes and forms. There is no right fit. You can have an hourglass, you can have small hips, big boobs, small boobs, big hips, and a mixture of that. When you talk about guys, it's a box, and pretty much 95% of guys fit into the box. If you have a box for females, pretty much no one fits in it. So it is extremely hard to cater for females to get the correct item. And the problem is females become quite hard or are harsh when something isn't fitting right. If someone, for example, they have big bumps and a small hip, but I cannot find anything, it's because you don't have a normal figure. And that's why manufacturers try not to make female gear, because it's pretty much an impossible task to cater for everyone, to make everyone happy. Ultimately, you buy what fits your biggest area, and then you have to alter, because we women don't have the figure like guys have.
But I like the fact that, it is shaped, because I don't want to hide. Like, I've got a friend who hides the fact that she's a woman. Like, she kind of puts the dark mask, she has the tinted helmet and everything, and I'm like, I don't care that people see me that I'm a female. Like, I like the fact that girls in cars can see that I'm a girl. Like, I like that. I think that's a good thing.
When I ride my bike, because I'm 6 foot tall, I have short hair. When I wear normal gear, I look like a bloke. And when I ride on the dirt, quite often when I start talking or I took my helmet off, people would say, "Oh, there's a girl in there." I want to show my boobs. I don't have big boobs. So now, having my armor, I actually have some boobs. So I'm cool with that.
Yeah, the shape of it is pretty nice, I must say. Like, I think I have small boobs too. I think it would make them look nicer. Definitely. Yeah. So turn to Connie, maybe. Okay, Connie, can you unmute yourself and tell us a bit what you love about motorcycling, and if you have any favorite gear or any brand to share with us?
Hello, good evening, everyone. Glad to be part of this talk. Enjoyed it a lot, learned a lot. And first, the question, why do I love motorcycling? I get into motorcycling when I was still studying in India. I have a friend who bought himself a Harley, and when I saw him riding, I was like, oh, that's so cool. I'm gonna be one of it one day. And that's how I fall in love. Then subsequently, I got myself a small geared bike, and I started riding, and there's no turning back. I love it. Just one word, love it. Then after coming back to Malaysia, unfortunately, till now I still don't have a bike, because the one in India, I sold it, and I haven't bought one in Malaysia. Still looking for one, a good bike that will last for many years to come. And so for now, I've already had my license, my V4 license, for a couple of years already, but no bike. Never mind, it's okay, it'll come in some time. So next, what gears that I like? Same goes to a bike. I don't have any gears yet, so I'm really excited and intrigued and looking forward for your new product, Stephanie. So maybe I'm in to try it out if your product is out. I'm looking forward to it. And I hope this will be my first first motorcycle gear, and hopefully my last. I'm really looking forward to it. Excited. All the best.
Thank you.
And when you come to KL, we can go shopping. Because
before I forget, Alison, she's going to send you guys a link with a discount code. So if anyone wants to buy some armor, please use the code. I will make the code available for like 6 to 12 months so that you can, whenever you're ready, if you need armor, you can use that code and get it cheaper.
Yes, that was one of the good news I wanted to share. Leah was supposed to share, but thank you so much.
We need more girls to have their girls protected, so it's all about our girls.
Fair point. Thanks so much,
That's
Stephanie.
Awesome. Very generous. Thank you.
Duinaway. So I'm sorry, Duinaway, I don't know what's your real name. Can you unmute yourself and share with us?
Hi there. Can you hear me?
Yes.
So my name's Lynn. Hopefully you can hear me okay. My internet has not been very good today, so I have come out of the meeting a couple of times. So I live in Scotland. You were asking questions about what you enjoy about motorcycling. My favourite thing is travelling on my motorcycle. I've done tours around Europe and Scandinavia so far, but I'd like to get a bit further afield. My favourite thing is the fact that I've gone places and met people that I've done and been on a motorbike and made really good friends along the way as well. So that's been my favourite thing. I've been riding since 2005, although I did have a bike for a short time when I was in my teens, but I never passed my test or did it properly. So it was a few years later before I actually got around to getting a licence and doing it the right way. So you were asking about favourite gear. My favourite bit of gear is a set of Triumph gloves that I bought years ago, and they're really now almost worn out, and I refuse to part with them. They've been so comfortable, they keep the rain out, they've been brilliant gloves, and I'm just so sorry when the day that they finally give up the ghost, I'll be heartbroken. Sort of brands of gear. My jackets and trousers that I'm wearing now are Rucker. They're really expensive to buy, so I knew I bought them second hand off a friend. They're really good in that they keep the rain out. Most other brands I've had, they claim to be waterproof. They're not. Eventually the rain gets in somewhere. The only downside I would say though, which is quite topical on this talk, is that the Rucker stuff, although it claims to be ladies' gear, it's still basically straight up and down. So I have two pairs of Rucker trousers that are slightly different sizes, and one fits on the waist and is too tight in the hips, and the other one's the other way around, sort of thing. So so that they're not quite women shaped. I've had other brands, LS2, RST, and we have quite a big store in Scotland here. It's Giantess clothing, and they actually do have some pretty good ladies' gear that fits reasonably well. So I think we're quite lucky here. We have a relatively good choice of gear if you know where to go. One thing, there was a shop local to me a few years ago who claimed to be, it was, I think, Girls Bike 2 they called it or something, and it was predominantly, it was solely a female riding gear, but it wasn't my cup of tea. It was just fashion stuff, and I don't really care what I look like. Am I going to be safe? Am I going to be warm and dry? That's my criteria, sort of thing. You don't want to look like a sack of potatoes either, but it's not high up in the priorities. And it was all, their stuff was all like very thin leather jackets, short. They weren't going to cover your back properly. They had short arms and things like that. So yeah, and it was made for people who were built like a stick insect. So unfortunately that shop didn't last very long. It was a nice idea, but it didn't really sort of take off very much. So So I think I've answered most of the questions I think you popped up. So
yeah, thank you so much, Lynn. Thank you so much, Lynn, and thanks for showing your face. It's really nice to.
Alison, you're muted.
Yeah, sorry. I was saying thank you so much, Lynn, and thanks for switching the camera on. It's really lovely to see your face, and it feels a little bit more like we're together. So yeah, thanks so much, and thanks so much for connecting from Scotland. Super good.
No, thank
And
you.
last but not least, Linley, who just joined us late. Unfortunately, you miss most of the presentation, but we'll send the recording by email anyway. So I don't know if you saw the questions. If you can briefly tell us where you're from and why you are riding a bike, what you love about it, and if you have any brand or gear that you'd like to advise that you love.
Cool. Did Leah have a chance to talk? I wasn't sure if I missed that, perhaps.
That's okay. I've been talking all night. You go for it.
Thank you. Okay, my name's Lindley. Hi, ladies. I'm from Cape Town, South Africa.
Woo!
And have you ever been to Cape Town? Has anybody ever been to South Africa besides Alison? Alison has. Yeah, it's beautiful. Absolutely
How about
gorgeous.
we all go to South Africa now?
Good idea. We've got some of the best roads in the southern continent of Africa. So within 2 hours, you can do 8 mountain passes, sea and inland. So it really, really is absolutely gorgeous. I've been riding motorcycles since 1976, about 45 years. I've never been without. I don't have a car. I've got 3 motorbikes. And so I don't drive. I can drive, but I refuse to drive. I ride, whether it's raining or whether it's wind or doesn't really matter. I ride. And I got into motorbikes because of my dad. He was a biker too, so I grew up like in the garage tinkering on the bikes with him and things like that. So it was just an automatic thing that I sort of became involved in motorcycles. But only at the age of 40, my daughter encouraged me to start the first ever motorbike school in Cape Town in South Africa, actually run by a woman, because it was always my passion, but I was in corporate finance and I hated my job. And my daughter at the age of 18 or 16, I can't remember, said to me, why don't you start a motorcycle school? And I thought, nobody will ever come to a woman for motorcycling lessons, not in South Africa. It's so patriarchal. So I decided to give it a go. And so that was 15 years ago. I started a motorcycle school. And I've never looked back. I've had many, many motorcycle businesses in the past 15 years. And we've been involved in so many great projects. And when I say we, my daughter Bo and I are a team. So whatever we do together. We currently have a business called Bikers Emporium, and it's an online platform for ladies in South Africa who ride motorcycles, who are interested in getting involved in motorcycling. So it's a bit of an inspirational platform just to get more and more women riding. And so I go out and I test whatever's new on the market. I'll test any bike and do a review so that if a lady is looking to buy a motorcycle, she already has a review from another woman. Because I was just looking at our biggest bike magazine this morning, Bike SA. Every single contributor, every single person who writes an article or does a review is a guy. And there isn't a single woman there saying to you, okay, I've just test rode the new BMW 750 GS and this is how I feel about it from a woman's point of view. So this is why we started it, so that I can go out, test ride bikes and tell women what it feels like to ride this particular bike. And I'm happy to ride anything because I have a lot of experience. Then we do a lot of online teachings as well. We're doing webinars, coaching people in certain skills. So we do coaching to people ladies who can ride, but need to lift their skills, like cornering with confidence, riding in the wind and the rain. The one we're doing next Wednesday or Thursday is back to basics. A lot of people get taught to get on the bike, let go of the clutch and go in a straight line, but nobody gets taught how to do a proper U-turn or how to use your body weight to help the motorcycle get around a tight corner. So we're doing those types of webinars. So it's all about like finishing school for lady riders. That's my other business, is Two Wheel Freedom, is actual practical teaching women to ride. It's called Two Wheel Freedom, and then we have Bikers Emporium, which is the online platform. So that's what we do in South Africa, and it's very, very exciting. We have quite a large following, and my favorite bit of gear is my Nexo riding suit. So it's a jacket and a separate trousers. It's mesh, so it has a lot of airflow. It gets really hot in Cape Town. We get 34, 36 degree days in summer. So you want to be protected, but you also want to have a little bit of airflow. I don't want to get off my bike and feel as I've melted and my hair's dripping and all the rest of it. So that, and in the winter, I just put something underneath it. So it's perfect. It keeps me warm in the winter and it keeps me cool in the summer. So that is it. And I just met Alison for the first time yesterday because of another platform called Future Females, where we're both involved with. And Alison actually contacted us and said, we do the same. I do the same as what you guys do in South Africa. Can we talk? And we hooked up with her. My daughter and I hooked up with her yesterday, and we ended up talking for an hour and a half. It was so fantastic. And then she told me about this. And I was just saying to her, this is how we're going to grow the worldwide, the global community of women motorcyclists, is just 8 women connecting. And next time it will be 108, and the next time it will be 1,008. So it is, I think it's fabulous. What you guys are doing is absolutely fabulous. I'm on board. I don't know what it is yet. I'm on board though.
Thank you very much, Lini. Thank you very much. So as usually, we went a little bit over. So just a little bit of information for those who need to go. First of all, the next event that we are going to do will be on the 21st of October. So please mark your calendar. We are working hard with Leah to get somebody to do something around bike maintenance and mechanics. But obviously, because that's a very high demanded topics through the survey that I found. However, that's a large topic. So I'm going to send you a link to the survey to have your feedback on this event. But also, if you can comment and let us know if there is any specific thing that you would like to learn about mechanics. Maybe is it changing oil? The basic. We did a maintenance workshop nearly 3 months ago, if I'm not mistaken. And we went a little bit superficial on one things to check: the tires, the oil, the handlebar and the cables and all those things. But is there anything that you would like to dig deeper into, or that you would like to learn about motorcycle maintenance to feel more comfortable, maintaining or repairing your own bike if anything happened on the road? Please let us know so that we can find as well the right speaker. So I'm just going to share with you in the chat the little survey here. Here I will share it as well, obviously, in the email. So after this event, we will send you the recording of this event. We will send you the different links that we shared through this event and the different tips. We will send you the discount code from Stephanie as well, and the link to this survey as well. But if you have some time to do it now while your mind is fresh, and you can tell us what you would like to hear about mechanics, that would be super useful so that we can make it as useful as possible.
Can I just say something before we go? I will send Alison a PDF form of what you ladies could look out for when you buy armor, whatever armor you're going to buy, the difference between hard and soft, the different kind of materials that are out there, on how an impact works on different armor, just so that you can educate yourself on what to look out for. And what will be the best for you as such. I mean, everyone has different preferences and what they're looking for. So it's a really, with graphs, and it shows on when an impact happens on what actually happened to the individual armor. So I will send this to Alison, and she will send that out to you guys too if you want to use that.
Yeah, awesome. And so I've also put in the chat where you can contact Stephanie, Alison, and myself. So they're all of our web sites, but on there you've got access to email, Messenger, Facebook, whatever it is. We're more than happy to connect in any forum. Just send us a message. We will respond. And Lindley, I would love if you could put your details in there as well, because I think what you've just spoken about, I think a lot of women on here would be interested to have a look at your biker emporium and see what you're doing there.
Yes, you can put the link in the
I'll
chat.
do that.
That would be great. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll do it.
Yeah, and just a big shout out as well. So as some of you know, through those events, they are free, but I also offer the opportunity for those who want to donate to help sponsor motorcycle classes to women in Malaysia. And for the second time, the first time I had one donor, but this time I got second donor. So I just wanted to publicly acknowledge that and give a big shout out for those who sponsored the Women Riders class. So yeah, I think we come to the end. Thank you, big thank to Stephanie for your time and lots of knowledge, and Leah, my partner in crime for those events. I'm so happy to be working with you on those events. It's always such a great pleasure. So thank you, everyone, and see you on the 21st of October.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
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 Thank you.